So here are the major topics that we're going to be discussing today. We're going to talk about a supply of a temporary easement by joint tenants. This is a couple that receive some compensation for the city to use their property, and the question becomes, is there any HST related to that property? We're going to talk about a conversion of a commercial unit into a residential building. This was a little bit of a surprise to me here, and we'll see what the twist is going to be. You've asked me to look at the supply of a license to use software. What are the GST, HST implications with respect to that? The place of supply rules, we're going to be looking at that. Sale land after a residential building is demolished. This is a non-arm's length transaction where they tripped up on the GST, and this was in Quebec, so they tripped up on the QST when they could have actually avoided the tax altogether. We're going to talk about the primary place of residence for the new housing rebate. So in order for you to get your new housing rebate, it has to be your primary place of residence. So if you build a second residence, for example, and then the question becomes, which one is your primary place of residence? So we're going to be looking at those rules. We're going to talk about the construction of a bunkhouse by a farmer. Again, there's a little bit of a twist to this one, so I thought I would present that one. I'm talking about the tax status of credit card surcharges. When you go to a merchant, and if you pay by credit card, they will add a 3%, for example, a 3% fee on top of that. If you want to use your credit card, if you want to pay cash, they won't charge you the fee. So the question becomes what is the status of that 3% additional fee to use that credit card? Is that considered to be subject to GST, HST? We'll talk about ITCs and late filed returns. There's a couple of twists here that I want you to make sure that you're aware of. So we're going to look at that. Sale of a newly constructed residential condos. This is another topic that you've asked me to look at it. There's been a lot of activity with respect to condos recently. And there's a lot of GST implications that you have to look at. We're going to talk about taxable supplies made by a nonprofit organization, not a registered charity, but a nonprofit. And you're going to see that certain things are actually taxable for nonprofits. So be careful on your nonprofits, because it's more likely that you're going to have to pay, or a nonprofit will have to register for GST than a charity.